I'm grateful for what God has done in Joe's life, because I know that he has a story to tell, and this is not the only time he will share it. He and Natalie both, I believe God has laid a mandate, a calling on their heart to be able to share their story with people that need to hear there is hope. So I'm just going to sit down.
Okay.
Give Joe a big hand.
All right, the time has come. Some people have been waiting. No. All right. Can we just go to the Lord in prayer, please? Dear Lord, I thank you for this time you've given me to share my story, my testimony, and how you have worked in my life, Lord, and the things you have brought me through and the things I've gone through, Lord. And as a young boy, knowing that something was there, but not knowing what it was, that something was watching over me and I didn't know what it was. I've come to realize and come to trust in that it was you. And I thank you for everything you've done in my life and everything you're doing and everything you're going to do, Lord. I just ask that you give me the wisdom to share with everybody your greatness and how you love each and every one of us, regardless of what we do or what we've done or things we've said, that your love is never failing. It never stops. It never ceases. It's always there. And I thank you for that, Jesus, and I love you. Amen. All right, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I ain't from around here. No, I'm not. I didn't plan nothing. I'm just going to roll with it. I grew up, my mom and dad got divorced when I was young. I think I was under 2 years old. And we went to a Catholic church. I can't remember going at all. I just knew we went. And I remember where it was, and I remember the car ride to it. But I didn't listen. I fell asleep most of the time because I was a young kid. And I knew of God. I knew who God was. My mom talked about God periodically, and but I didn't know anything about him. I didn't study his word. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't do any of that. And I grew up, I guess you could say, kind of lost, not knowing who God was. It was just me, my mom, and my sister growing up. I saw my dad every other weekend until I was about 16. So out of a 365-day year, I got to see my father 50 of them. Which kind of, I don't know. It's all right. I grew up not having no direction, not having a manly figure to show me how to do things. I mean, I did when I went and saw my dad, but just, it was a little tough. I grew up kind of under two women, an older sister and my mother. And Mike even tells me today, you got to man up, man up. No, which I need to hear, because it just wasn't there growing up. And I got mixed up in the wrong crowd, mixed up with the wrong people at a young age. I remember I was 12 years old, I started using drugs. And it all was a snowball effect from there. I used drugs, I sold drugs. I was a bad person. I ain't gonna stand here and lie to you. I was a real bad person. And it just progressed worse and worse and worse. And the devil was like, I got you so tight. And I didn't know where to turn, so I just kept rolling with the punches. Get knocked down, try and get back up on my own 2 feet, not knowing that someone was there with his hand out, wanting me to grab it. And I've been through a lot of traumatizing things, I guess you could say. I don't want to talk about the bad, I want to talk about the good, because the bad is in the past and it's forgotten in God's eyes. And but just to let you know a few things I've been through. Everything could progress to about the hardest thing you could think of, and I was addicted to heroin for a long time. In 2007, my dad's girlfriend at the time, she had a son named Joey. My dad's name was Joe. and I was Joe. So there was 3 Joes in the house. I came home from work one day, and I was living with my dad after I got my license and I was older, because I didn't want to live with my mom anymore. Or I was just out, didn't want to. I could go to my dad's, do what I wanted to do, leave, and didn't have no consequences, didn't have nothing. As long as I showed up to work, everything was fine.